Hello, everybody. My name is Dave Finale, and we are here live with our usual episode of Real Estate Talk TGIF. And we are a couple of minutes late. We apologize for that, but we are going on, and we have a great guest with us today. And we're just waiting for Krista to, I believe, to take care of her dog that was barking in the background.
Yes.
and as I said, hello, everybody. My name is Dave Finale, and this is Real Estate Talk TGIF, episode 84. And we all know what the TGIF stands for, right? That's right. Thank God it's finale. That's correct, right? So here we are. It's Friday, and it's thank God it's finale. And Krista Mashore, you are one of the greatest realtors in the country. You are a coach, and you are also, which I didn't show you the other day, an author of this great book, Sell 100 Plus Homes a Year. Krista, welcome to the broadcast. Tell us about yourself.
Thanks for having me, Dave. I really appreciate it. I think it's awesome what you're doing.
Thank you.
I've been in the real estate industry for about 19 years. I've sold just over 2,000 homes. And I love what I do. I'm also a real estate coach, and I've written 3 best-selling books. One of them is one that you actually just showed. It has a little bit of a different cover now. The cover looks like this. So the cover is a little bit different now because we updated it.
I like that cover better.
Yeah, I like it better too. But yeah.
Awesome. So you've been in the business for a bunch of years. I believe you got in, your first year was 2001. Tell us the reasons what happened before that, and when you got into the business. Why did you get into the business, and then how did you propel yourself into the business?
Well, I got into the business because I used to be a teacher. I taught 3rd grade for 6 years, and my youngest daughter got really, really sick. She contracted spinal meningitis, and then had multiple strokes and had one of her kidneys failed. So we spent about a month in 3 weeks in Children's Oakland Hospital in isolation. And when during that time, they had told me quite often that she probably wasn't going to make it through the night because it got so bad. She's perfectly fine now, but at the time, I decided that I wanted to become home, be a stay-at-home mom and just sort of get into real estate, to kind of play real estate and sort of do it, just dabble in it, so I could have a little bit of extra income, so I could stay home with my 2 daughters, because they had told me that most likely she was going to probably have some issues and some problems, right, from being deaf to being mentally disabled. So my goal was to help her, thrive, not just survive. So right around that same time, a few months later, my husband at the time actually ended up having an affair and leaving us. And so we had just bought a brand new home. And so I kind of went into fear mode and survival mode, and ended up going full force into real estate, and ended up selling 69 houses my first year.
First year, you sold 69 houses your first year. Now, when you went into your office, did you get training and coaching, or what did you do? Most of us, honestly, our first year with me, my first year was, there's the phone, answer it if it rings. That was my training.
Yeah. What I did was, I went into the office every single day, and I just would model people. I'd follow people. I would listen. I mean, I was there, first one there every day and last one to leave. And I wasn't afraid to just kind of listen, really. And my broker would tell me to do something, and I would do it. And back then, I did things very differently than I would do now, knowing what I know. But, I door knocked, and I never cold called, but I definitely door knocked. And I worked every single weekend, and I made sure that when I showed up, I was really, really prepared, and I just did everything I needed to make it happen. People called me on Christmas Eve, and I would go and show houses. All of those were buyers, by the way. It was all buyers.
So you did mostly buyers your first year. That was 69 buyers, or was it broken up a little, some other things too?
I'm pretty sure every one of them was a buyer.
Wow. Put a lot of mileage on that car.
Yeah, exactly. And that was back in the day when you had to look up MapQuest, and you had to map out every single thing. So, you're showing 10 houses, 12 houses, and it would take you 4 hours to prepare. I mean, it was literally that different back then. But I had to survive. So
that was when you had to buy a thing called a map.
Yeah.
Hagstrom's had them out there, and that was like the thing. I was talking to somebody about that last week. They said, I started when it actually had a map. I mean, me too. I mean, when I started, it was like we got pages delivered every morning for the listings. I mean, it wasn't like that in '01, but it was close, right?
Yeah.
So
they're different.
So you're involved in real estate, and you're full time. And what changed in your business over your first couple of years to make you get to that 100 home status? What made you get there?
You know, my goal was to always be very different than everyone else, and I would really highly suggest that everyone listening does the same. You need to look around and see what everybody's doing, and either enhance it or find a different way. So, you know, even way back then when I got my first listing, what I would do is I would put like the CDs, I'd put a CD box on there and have, 50 pictures instead of just on the flyer. And then I do a 4-page beautiful colored flyer. And I do things like I put my listings on TV. And then I made sure that I marketed it so everyone would see it that way. If I held an open house, I'd send out flyers to the neighbors, making sure the neighbors knew about the open house, and they were the pretty 4-page flyers, colored flyers.
Right.
I made sure I just did things really, really high scale. And when I had a buyer with me, I'd have an ice chest in the back, and I'd find out what their favorite, drinks were and their favorite food was. And I'd have that in my car with me. And if I knew they had kids, I'd have snacks and games for them to play. I just did everything, a step above, and pretty soon it became known that I did that. And when you have a listing and you market it that way, you do it different, that very, very quickly turned into listings. And so within just a couple years, I became a almost primarily just a listing agent, and I didn't even take buyers.
Well, you basically accentuated what I call the art of differentiation back before social media, before YouTube, before all of that. And that's what really got you rolling. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
So then you've got this book, which I have, right? And there's just so many things in it that are just so key. And one of the things I was looking at to get some information, which I have read the book, honestly, but that was about 6 months ago when I first got it, honestly, because I've known about you for a long time, and I'm so glad to have you here. One of the things you said was stay ahead of the trends, which is something that I've always tried to do. And when I owned my brokerage, it was always important for me to be ahead technology-wise. And honestly, in that point in the early 2000s and up, I guess, till about 10, 12 years ago, that was difficult, not difficult to do, but difficult to get people to buy in to the technology because they were afraid of it. Talk to staying ahead of the trends.
It's more important now than ever, I believe, to stay ahead of the trends.
Absolutely.
And, it's not a matter of, hey, I'm afraid, I can't do it, technology is hard, I'm too old, I'm too young. It's a matter of life or death. You really have to lean into technology, because I use technology and social media to really show how I'm so different than my competitors. In fact, I recently just wrote a book called The Savvy Seller, which is basically going to be distributed to everybody in my city. And the whole goal for the book is to differentiate me and what I do to your average agent. Now, they don't know that when they're reading it, but it all just talks about how I use technology, how I use social media, how I'm able to, reach literally thousands, hundreds of thousands of views and get 6,000, 8,000 engagements, how I'm able to generate anywhere from 400 to 555 hours on one video that somebody watches. So I'm able to actually show this within this book and really showcase what makes me different. And when people actually see that you are an author, they automatically instantly give you credibility. So again, I really believe that this year, just from adding that strategy to my belt, that I'll sell over 200 homes.
Oh, that's amazing. And so obviously you're not one just to sit down and let things come to you, right? It's kind of one of your things of being very driven. Talk to that a bit for everybody who's watching.
Everybody, I'm actually in an inner circle with Russell Brunson from ClickFunnels, and he is one of my mentors. And everybody always says, gosh, you're such a master implementer. And I'm just like, what? And I don't really feel that. I believe that when you have a coach or a trainer and somebody tells you that you should be doing something, that you need to listen and you need to take action, right? Because if we continue to do what we've always done, we're going to continue to get the same result. We have to be willing to add tools to our arsenal, to show up differently, to kind of get out of our comfort zone and do things that quite frankly are hard that nobody else wants to do. And that's why, 3% of agents do 97% of the business, and the other 97% are wondering what happened. It's because they really are working. And so I know it takes work and it takes persistency. And the thing is that when you take action and you just keep taking action every single day, there's nothing that can happen other than it's going to all of a sudden click and it's going to all of a sudden work. But many people will stop too soon. They don't see the results right away. Maybe it's like they'll start, sending out maybe postcards or whatever it might be. And they do it 3 or 4 times, not seeing a result. So they stop. And if they just would have, committed to doing that for 6, 8, 9 months, they absolutely would have seen results. And if they would have accompanied that by a digital marketing plan to that sphere where they target them and send relevant information about that neighborhood so that they're being seen on social media, on Facebook, on YouTube, as well as in print marketing, they very well, and then follow that up by dropping off the book, right? They very well could start to dominate that area.
Well, it's as complicated and as simple as you put it. If you put together your book, which I showed twice, and the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, when you put those two things together and what you just said is perfection. I mean, it's not that, you do a onesie here, onesie there, and it's going to work and come together. That's one of the things. I mean, you're doing things that other agents refuse to do, even when they know they should be doing it. And one of the things that has happened is that, they're kind of stymied because they're looking at you as, well, we can't be here. What are we going to do? They won't even try it now. So what you've done is you stymied the market.
So here's the thing. So I know that I'm a coach, and we teach agents across the country, whether there's, small cities, large cities, whether there's already a top producing agent in there, of all shapes and colors, new agents, experienced agents. We teach them how to show up differently and then properly expose what they're doing to their community the right way, right? And 99% of agents are doing it incorrectly. Like, they'll use social media, they'll use video, but they won't know how to properly get it in front of the right eyes. And then once they do, they don't know how then to take that information and then take it to their advantage to show that they are the authority figure. We teach people that, and everyone thinks it's so hard at first until you have help and you have coaching. I mean, let's just face it. I don't know if you know what those awards are right there, but those are 3 2 comma clubs. And I have the 4th one coming on its way. And, we got those within a 14-month time period. And that was after I hired a coach to help get me there. So 2 years prior, I was trying to figure it out on my own, trying to figure out how to break into this coaching sphere. And he taught me, in 14 months, I did $3 million from hiring him. And so it was a huge investment on my part initially, but thank goodness I did, because he gave me the skills. He fast-tracked me. I didn't make the mistakes that he made. And many people say things like, well, once I have the money, I'll invest. It's completely the opposite. You need to invest, and then you get the skills. And as Robert Kiyosaki from Rich Dad Poor Dad says, is that there's 2 types of people. There's people that are rich and there's people that are poor. Rich people buy assets such as coaching, training. They invest in themselves to become better at their skill, at their trade. Poor people buy liabilities. They buy cars and vacations they can't afford, and Starbucks they can't even afford, and they wonder why their life never changes and they remain poor. You have to be willing to invest in what you don't know to get to that level, and also have a belief in yourself that you can do it. If you research really successful people, all of them have the belief that they just know that they can do it. And you can train people to have that belief. It's a lot of mindset coaching to really believe in themselves and to really push. Without talking so much, there's also another study. It's called Change or Die. And this study basically took 2 sets of people. And in one group, they said, listen, if you don't change your lifestyle, both were going to die, right? So both groups were, if you don't change what you're doing, you're not going to live. Okay. And so one group, after 1 year, 90% of them failed. They would rather die than have to change what they were doing. Right. Okay. The other group actually had accountability. They had coaching. They were in a group with other people that were like-minded and were being coached and trained. Out of that group, 80% made it. So you're 7 times more likely to achieve something that you want in life, no matter what it is. I mean, if these people would rather die than change, imagine how difficult it is to do something on your own. And so when it is daunting, it does seem hard, but when you have a group of like-minded people, when you have coaching, when you have, a blueprint that says, here's how, and you just keep being, held accountable and being pushed and encouraged, you are 7 times more likely to do it. And that's when you're dying. So imagine how hard it is for people to really start changing on things when they try to do it on their own. It's very, very difficult, and very few people can do it.
So talk to me. You're absolutely correct. And I agree with you 100% because I've had different coaches. I've had coaches that did not help me, and that happens with a lot of people. And it can be very frustrating and very disconcerting when you hire the wrong coach. And that's going to happen. And it can be nothing to do with what they're teaching you. It's just that there's just not a merge or a meeting of the minds to accept the help, right? So, but, as you move forward, there's also people that say, well, I'm doing it the way they're saying to do it. I'm doing it that way, but I'm not getting anywhere. What would you say to those people?
I would say they're not doing it the way that they're told, quite frankly. But many times people are hiring coaches that have never done it themselves, right? Like, think about how many coaches in real estate that have never sold real estate. And they're telling people to do X, Y, and Z, but they've never actually been in the grind. They don't know the psychology of a buyer or seller. They don't know anything about digital marketing. They tell them to just run a Facebook ad or to do a video, but they don't tell them how to properly do it step by step, right? So you need to make sure you hire someone that's gotten to a place that's higher than where you have been, that they're doing things themselves that you need to do, and that they've been able to prove that they've been able to teach other people how to do it as well. It's just like the 4-minute mile, right? The 4-minute mile was, for hundreds of years, was never ever crossed. And then all of a sudden the 4-minute mile was crossed. And I think the number was like within a year, I think 87 people, and I could be wrong with that stat, but it's really, really high, was able to break the 4-minute mile because they saw the possibility that other people could do it. And so we have had people in our programs that it doesn't work, but we can then show that, well, you haven't been following the program. You haven't been doing what we're telling you, right? You've got to actually do it, and you've got to give it the time it takes and be consistent. You can't just do it 1 or 2 times. You've got to follow the process, follow the procedures, and make sure that you have the proper belief system in yourself and the know and the belief that you will make it, and you will.
Yeah, it's just like, look, here's another way to look at it. There's a lot of people that want to lose weight. Okay. And like, for instance, for me, okay, I did my situation is I can always lose 10, 20 pounds like that if I want to, but I also know I'm going to gain it right back, right? I'm going to gain it right back because, oh, I did such a great job. I can have that burger. I can have those chips. I can have all that other stuff, but I don't realize that all I did was change something for a couple of months or maybe a month. And I went right back to the way I was. When you're getting coached, when you're given systems and processes to use with the tools, it needs to be a change in how you do your business, mm-hmm. right? And that's one of the things that other people, other agents don't get, right? Like you said, they might try a video, they might try to do this, but they're just not doing it, right? And not doing it
correctly because they haven't been trained correctly. They hear somebody tell them to do it. But if it was just as easy as putting a video out there, we'd all be rich, right? It's so much, there's a strategy behind it and there's systems behind how to do it correctly. And when you do that, you can see massive results very, very quickly. And then you can use those results to then prove value add as to why they should hire you over somebody else, because you're able to expose their house to thousands of people and get hundreds of, reactions and get hundreds of views and watch time on properly marketing that video. When you can show people that and power of social media and why it's so important, like when you list a home, it's easy to make sure to get that listing. We have agents that have been brand new in the business, beating out top performing agents that have been dominating certain areas because those agents are still old school and they're not changing their thinking. And it is hard at first. I'll be honest, it's difficult to change habits, right? Just think of the change or die study. But if you really, really want to see true change in your business and you're planning on being in this business, there's a statistic that shows that 87% of agents within 5 years will be out of the business.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that statistic because even more so now because they are becoming irrelevant. They're becoming like the travel agent and they're becoming like, Toys R Us, who is now gone, right? Who ever thought Toys R Us would no longer be in existence? Well, Amazon came along, right? And now people can buy toys and get them delivered to their house within 24 hours. They don't have to go to that store. So if we don't, as agents and as business people and as lenders, quite frankly, change the way that we are thinking, change the way that we're doing business, we will become irrelevant. And I believe that stat's going to actually increase.
Well, you just said Toys R Us, right? Let's use a different example and how they're surviving. Best Buy, right? How is Best Buy surviving now? Because they were the showroom for Amazon. Everyone would go there because they wanted to look at it, feel it, touch it, and go home and buy it from Amazon, right? What they did was they now partnered with Amazon, right? They sell all their products there, so they can't beat them, join them, right? There's one other thing you said earlier that I really want to focus in on just a little bit. We've all heard of the 80-20 rule, right? And where 20% of the people doing 80% of the business. You said something a little bit differently a few minutes ago. You said 3% are doing 97% of the business. I absolutely love that because I've always tried to push it to 90-10. Tell us why you say that and give me some examples.
Well, it's true. I mean, go everywhere. Your average agent they say sells 6 homes, but if you do the research on how many realtors are actually out there and how many homes have sold, it's closer to 3. Okay, the average agent does 3. And then you have agents, before I left coaching, I sold 154 homes that year. My highest year was 169. And that's not with a huge team. That was with me and an assistant and a transaction coordinator. Now, since I've gone into coaching in the 2 years prior to sort of going out, I brought in a buyer's agent and I brought in my brother and associates to help me because now my focus is more on coaching the strategies that we teach. But before that, I mean, it was primarily just me all those years of selling 120, 130, 140 homes. And other people were, selling 3 and 6 and 10. And even the other top producers behind me, in many cases, weren't able to sell more than, I just dominated over them.
Right.
And you'll see that in most cities. There's 1 or 2 or 3 agents out of 500 or 600 that are doing primarily the most amount of business because they are willing to do things that other people won't, or because, quite frankly, they have been a top producer by default. I believe that agents that are top producers by default, because they always have been that go-to guy, it is very easy to have a new person come in and start utilizing different strategies to show their value add and what they're doing different to come over and take over those top producers, because I'm seeing it happen all the time now.
That's just amazing. I mean, and then so we talked about your business, and then you got into coaching, and you mentioned earlier you were a 3rd grade teacher, and you in our conversation earlier the week we talked about you missing that kind of thing. So tell us about your transition from being a full-time super agent to a coach. Talk to me about that.
Honestly, I love coaching. I love teaching. I love helping people. It's just kind of my passion, and I was born, I think, here to serve. I just love seeing people thrive. And in life, they say that as soon as you can start giving back and serving, that's when you've really hit the highest level of development, is philanthropy and teaching other people what you've already learned. I mean, I've paid hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in my own personal growth and development. I've traveled the country. I've hired, extensive coaches and trainers, not in real estate, but in digital marketing and social media and, NLP, to become somebody that, and quite frankly, in most of my career, I always research that type of thing to really show up differently than everyone else. So while most people were getting real estate coaches, I would have a digital marketing coach or a social media coach or a speaking coach or a business coach to teach me to be different than everyone else. And so one day I was just like, I'm tired of this. I think that year I sold like 160 homes. And it was just mostly me. And I remember calling my brother and saying, look, I can't do this anymore. I can't, because I was trying to coach and trying to do real estate at the same time, and it just wasn't working. And so I said, come help me. And so literally I just started training them to be me, to do all the things that I do. Then we have a great system in place where we have people we've hired to be able to do all the things that I've learned. And so now I can coach, and it's awesome because we're still in the grind. I can still see what, I'm still relevant because I'm still here. My team is still doing it. And we still have new strategies that we adapt into our company that works. And once they work well, then we train them to our students.
So as you went into coaching, I mean, and you had to build a team, right? And one of the things that I saw in your book was behind the scenes, and you talked about something you wanted everybody on your team you worked with, a book to read. That was Dale Carnegie's book. Tell me about the importance of that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, because I think that's one of the greatest books ever.
It's awesome. It's because you want them to know that how to treat people, right? How to make people feel special and how to over deliver and over serve. And that if you can do that and really focus on the individual's needs and really listen to them, listen and not be thinking about your answer, and just go above board and taking care of people, like that's the kind of service that we give in both our coaching business and to our clients when we're selling homes. And I want everyone to adapt that mentality. And if you can do so, you'll make lifelong friends, and you also can be more influential on people when you treat them right and you come at them as a servant mindset.
So as you move forward with your coaching and your business and stuff, one of the things that real estate agents need to know, especially with social media and everything, is they need to get what I call, I've read a great book by Mark Schaefer called Known. They need to get known, right? So what are the steps that they should be taking, like from beginning on up, to get known, to get that position in the marketplace?
So agents need, and lenders alike need, quite frankly, any profession. I mean, this is the same strategy that I teach my students to do on a local level that I've done nationally to become known as a coach. And basically, you need to be the mayor of your town. And Gary Vaynerchuk talks about it all the time, right? And the quickest way to do that is by producing content. And it's not content that's like, look at me, I'm the best. No, it's content that helps people. It gives valuable information. You talk about real estate and you don't talk about real estate. You talk about what's happening in the city, local events that are coming up, the best dog parks, and then you talk about stats, like a national market update, a local market update. You talk about tips and tricks on selling, tips and tricks on buying. And then you get that information out there. When you start utilizing video, people get to know you, they get to like you, and they get to trust you. In order for you to be known, you have to be seen and you have to be heard. So be seen, be heard, be known. And when you do this consistently and then properly distribute it, and when I say that is many people are starting to do video, but they're not distributing it right. They'll put it on their social media channels. And because of these social media channels being a business, they want your money. So you have to learn to pay them and run ads behind your videos, all of them that you're doing, videos from community videos to your real estate videos. And then you start to, when you do that, then you're being seen in front of everybody. If you're just posting your videos on your business page or your homepage, Facebook only allows between 0 and 2% of people to see you. They're only letting people see you that's already interacting with you, your family, your friends. Those aren't the type of people you're trying to attract. You want them to see you, of course, but you want people that don't know you. You want your entire city to be reached. So we teach people how to take this content, relevant content that speaks to the person, and then properly distribute it so they get hundreds and hundreds of hours, thousands and thousands of views, hundreds and hundreds of engagements, so that it actually works for them. And when they do this over time, they very, very quickly become known as the go-to expert. We actually had a brand new agent get voted the best realtor in her city, and it wasn't the type that she promoted herself because she hadn't sold a house yet. So she was voted as the best realtor in her city and hadn't even sold the home yet. We started doing this strategy, and we all were just cracking up, because the illusion is that when you're, talking about real estate and you're talking about the community, you're talking about all these great things people can do, and you're going over what contracts are and things to look out for, and you're always putting fun, enthusiastic, educational twist to it. People see you appear to be the authority, right? Imagine if you were able to, one of the strategies that we're doing with our mastery students, and we were going to be actually taking it out to the public as well, is having a book that is not just one of these cheesy books that you order online, right? That are really so embarrassing. You should never put your name on it, because it's actually worse to have a book that's not a good book than to have a good book at all. But imagine being able to have a book that was written by somebody with 19 years of experience and written by a New York Times bestselling editor that really, really shows how valuable you are and how different you are and how you're going to market properties and your negotiation skills. Imagine if they had that tool and they've never even sold a house before, but they have all that relevant information, and they then learn how to utilize what's in that book to actually do it. Imagine how powerful that can be with somebody. And those kind of things, it's an investment of yourself, it's an investment of time, it's an investment of money. And most people won't take the time to do it because their fear, or they're so stuck in doing what they're doing. But that one thing alone could generate people, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I could almost promise you that if somebody did that the correct way and then properly marketed it and properly distributed it, they would go from 0 to 25 homes in a year with your eyes closed.
Absolutely. You just said so much there. it's a matter of consistency is probably the most important part of it. And just to give you a quick story on that, I mean, I'll go to events all the time, and I always tell people, I give them a number of how many people are going to come up to me that I don't know that say hello to me. Thanks for doing your content. I went to an event last night, a NARUP event, and it was 16 people I didn't know came up to me and said, "Hey, love your videos. Keep doing it. Love you. Help me a lot. Thank you very much." That's what happens. And you just said about the agent never sold anything, right? So it's really cool. And it's like, wow, it like takes you back. And still today, everything that does that, it takes me back.
Yeah, it's a little uncomfortable. I mean, when you do this locally, it's so much easier to do it locally. And Dan, Dave will tell you, doing it locally is easy because you're just looking at 100,000 people. And when they start to see you over and over and over again, there's something called a parasocial relationship. What a parasocial relationship is, it's been proven, right? Research shows that people are programmed because when we were young and we were watching the television and we'd see people on the television, you start to develop a relationship with them. You start to want to fight for them, or you love them or you hate them, right? But you start to develop a one-sided relationship.
Right.
So as you start to do this, your brain is programmed to think the person that you're seeing on the other side of the TV, the other side of the video screen, the other side of the phone, when you see them giving information and giving value, your brain is saying, it's being programmed to think that they're an authority. They're someone that you should listen to. They're kind of like the celebrity status. And people will come up to you all the time and be like, "Hey, oh my gosh, Krista, how's the market? How are things going? I love your last video," and hugging you and all this stuff. And your family is going, "Who is that, Mom?" And I'm like, "I have no idea," but it just shows that it's working.
That's right.
Or people will say, my gosh, what you're doing is working. I see you everywhere, and it happens. It happens if you do it consistently in about 4 to 5 months. But then what happens is the momentum. Like I tell people, it's harder for me to get you from 1 to 12 deals than it is for me to get you from 12 to 50. A great example of this is an agent I have. Her name's Leslie Bennett. And when she started, she only had done 2 transactions in 2017. She started with us in April. And in April, she did from April until January, she did 27 transactions, right? So in 8 months, she went from 2 to 27. And then in 2019, she just ended selling 63 or 61 units. But I can imagine going from 2 homes to 61, it's either 61 or 63 in 20 months. And it's from this exact same strategy. Now, I mean, and of course, in the beginning, she was nervous. And in fact, when she started doing it, her friends and family were all saying, like, "What are you doing with these videos? And why do I see you everywhere? It's kind of embarrassing." And she wanted to stop. But I told her, you keep on going, you keep on going.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, the momentum is just like, bam. Now she is opened up a new office. She is the mayor, literally, of her town now. Everywhere. Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing. I mean, just getting known, what it'll do for your business. I'm going to right now bring on my colleague, my friend, one of my coaches, Sekou Pyle, who is a big fan of yours as well. And we work together on a regular basis. Actually, we work together a lot, and we collaborate together. Sekou, say hello to Krista.
Krista, oh my God, look at you. Listen to you. Your energy is through the roof.
Oh, I think
I love it.
I get told that a lot. I don't notice it, but everyone always says, I don't think I even talk sometimes. They're like, "Is that an interview?" I'm like, "Oh, I didn't say anything yet."
So first things first, of course, I'm looking in the background, right? I look at the stuff that you have on your walls behind you. Are those platinum albums that you have behind you?
No, those are, it's called a 2 Comma Club. There's 3 of them. I have one more on its way. It's basically showing that I did $1 million in sales for each one with one single funnel. So it's basically taking the funnel, where you take people, at the top and bring them down and you sell to them. So we got those in 14 months from starting our new coaching business.
That is awesome sauce. I am a fan.
I appreciate it.
Just listening to you, the kind of enthusiasm that you have for the client base that you're working with, the customers that you're working with. I got to be honest with you. I don't know anyone who wouldn't sign up for what you're talking about. Do you run into people who still have doubts about the service, about the concept and the idea that you're working?
People are really afraid because they've been given such bad information from people. They've hired people and it hasn't worked. And also, quite frankly, they're afraid of failure. And it is a lot of work. And this kind of what we teach, it's not easy, right? We're basically teaching somebody how to get a degree in digital marketing. Right. And use of technology the proper way. So something that you have to really be willing to put your time and energy into it, be committed to it. And it's not for the faint of heart. I mean, you know, we're teaching different type of things. We don't teach open houses or door knocking or cold calling. None of that even comes up. And if people are going to do an open house, we teach them how to digitally make it worth their while to expose them the right way, right? And we do get it's scary, and also it's an expensive program, but quite frankly, I believe that it's undervalued, because when people do it, I mean, they've 60x their results, 30x their results. I mean, it's so easy to 10x, and I say that with like 100% passion, enthusiasm, and truth, if they actually do the program. And also, too, Sekou, people, it's really hard for people to give it the time it takes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and that's why I talk about momentum. It's harder to get from 1 deal to 12 than it is to get to 12 to 50, because they don't see the results right away. So most people, we're born to want to just stop, because we're so used to instant gratification. So if I can just get them to keep going and keep believing and keep knowing, then it will work.
Bang. Finale, what do we need to do, man? We need to
Well, well, you know what? I mean, I'll share her book with you, and I'm going to get the other one. So
I'll email you. I'll send you one. I'll send you a book, a copy of this. Are you you're his coach? Are you in real estate?
Yeah, we're both in real estate.
Yeah,
and we coach each other.
I'll have Dave do me a favor and send me your mailing address, and I'll send you a copy. I mean, I know Dave is awesome.
What? You got a hat already?
Yes! I got this cool hat, and so
that's why people come on.
Yeah, so he got
you got it early.
Yeah, I said to him, send me your hat, and I'll wear it. You know, so he gave me this. I like the bill too. It's like a flat bill. It's so cool. But he gave me the idea. I'm gonna start sending my community. I have it here. Let me see. I have these jackets that I send out. See where it says community market leader?
Yes.
So I'm a community market leader. So this is my swag that I give my students. And it basically says, I'm a community market leader. And then it says abundant, successful, helpful, original, resourceful, educator, marketer. And then it's my students get this and they love it. So
I'm loving it. So we are a breaking things sort of group as well. And it is not for the faint of heart. So I can definitely relate to what you're saying. We run up against a lot of agents who still have an employee mindset. And they walk into the door and they're like, okay, what am I supposed to do today? And we're like, I don't know. How big do you want to grow today? You know, and talking to a person like you, talking to a coach like yourself, who's growth minded and who's got like the doors wide open for people with the same mindset. How are you reaching your people? How are you as a coach reaching your client base? And are you practicing what you preach?
100%. So the way I grew as a coach is I followed the exact same strategy. I started putting out free content, doing videos and marketing that free content without ever asking anybody to do anything. I didn't ask them to download, to click, anything, and it just got my name out there. Then I wrote my book, and I started running funnels where basically I'd bring people down the funnel, and they'd read the book and go, wow, she actually knows what she's talking about. And then from there, we put them either into a challenge, or we give them into something called a lead gen playbook, where they actually go through more training with me, and then we get them on the phone with one of our high ticket reps. And here's the thing about investment, like you said it. Why is it that in real estate, I mean, I know as a real estate agent, you know, when I was doing really well, I was grossing about $2 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any doctors, attorneys, lawyers. I mean, they don't make that kind of money. They really don't, right? I mean, maybe the best of the best, the top 0.2% do. But why? I mean, I had to invest in my skills to make that kind of money. And people are so, if you go to get a college education at a university, you're spending, you know, $40,000, $50,000 and upwards of $200,000-$300,000 at the higher universities. Why wouldn't you invest money to actually take the fast track, learn from someone who's done it, learn from someone who's proven to be able to help other people, and not make the mistakes and like collapse your time, right? Like, I believe that money is so much less valuable than time. I want to collapse time frames. Because I can't get time back, but I can always make up money. So for me, I've spent $25,000 for one day with somebody. One day, 25 grand. That's how much I understand the value of coaching. And that 25 grand has made me, $1 million, right? Just by utilizing the strategy, because I'm taking what he's learned and mastered and all the mistakes he learned from and all the things that, didn't put it into a little box and said, here you go. And now it's a matter of me implementing it. I wouldn't recommend anyone doing that. Like, I don't think I could ever even in good grace sell $25,000 program for a day, because I believe that, you need the additional support and accountability and structure. And hey, what do I do now when something goes wrong? But I have many times spent $25,000, $30,000, $35,000 on coaches because they help me get where I want to go. I can't do it on my own, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And agents have
None of us can.
To market. They don't know how to market. They're taught all these things that never even are ever used. They have their license, and now it's like, okay, go do an open house, go cold call, go door knock. You're going to get shot if you door knock too much. Nobody wants you knocking on their door. How do you feel when somebody calls you? You get pissed off and you hang up. If there's a new way of reaching people. I don't do open houses, but I can show my sellers, hey, I had 555 hours of watch time on your video, right? I mean, how many open houses do I have to do to be in front of 555 hours of people watching a 2-minute video? I mean, do the math, right? And then if you do that over and over and over again, pretty soon I'm a rock star.
That makes perfect sense. I'm a dinosaur, right? So I'm still pounding the phones and doing everything. And a few years ago, my kid laughed at me because I was like, handwritten notes. And my kid was like,
handwritten notes are still good because nobody does them.
My kid looked at me, he says, Dad, how many times have you opened the mail this year? I was like, whatever. Just send it as a text. It's more personal. And so we started doing it just like you say. And rather than saying, hey, I sent out 1,000 handwritten notes, I don't know how many people opened them. And I guess some people have come to see me as a result. We send out 200 gratitude texts a day and you get 140 back. And, 5 people turn into transactions as a result. I mean, it's a measured success. So we're 100% behind what you're saying. We grow with this. We're at EXP, right? And
Yeah.
EXP is a digital marketing. It's a digital agency. We're in the cloud. So we embrace what you're talking about. That's awesome.
I just changed.
Oh, you did? Rock with us. Yeah. I'll meet you in the world one day and we'll go sit down in one of the big conference rooms.
Say, Q, you should do video text messages. Send video text messages just congratulating somebody on something that happened to them. Or I'll tell you what, you'll pick up business. My students, I make them do 10 a day. Just from that, we've had clients pick up 6 new listings, buyers from just doing that in a 2-week time frame, 10 a day.
10 a day.
Yeah, for 2 weeks. We have most people average in a 30-day time frame, they average 2 new clients. But we've had multiple people do 6 new transactions by doing it for 30 days in our 15.
Absolutely correct. I started teaching video text back in 2013. I was on a stage at a Century 21 Brokers Conference, and I told people how to do it. And to this day, there's like 2 people that say, I owe you my business because it changed everything.
But here's the deal. So this is a very simple strategy, but it's not easy, right? It's not easy to do. They have to get over their fear of how they look. And I have to remind you, that is how you look. That is how you sound. So get over it, right?
Excellent. Yes, get over it.
Get out of your head, because that's the way you look. And it's personal. Nobody does it. And the response rate when you do that is like unbelievable, because people are, number one, you're not ever asking for business. You don't say, I want a referral, or give me this, or I'm so great. You say, hey, I noticed that you and your wife just had an anniversary. Wow, that dinner looked great. Just like I was thinking about you, and just have an awesome day. Or, hey, your son just went to college. What an accomplishment. I'm sure you're going to miss him, but you're also so proud of him. Congratulations. I was just thinking about you. And, you need anything, let me know. I'm always here for you. Never asking for business. Never about you. It's about them. The more that you can make everything you do about other people, including the content that you're putting out there, right? The more that your content speaks to your ideal avatar, your ideal client. And that's the idea of doing a funnel, right? So many people are just trying to go after everybody. And when you specialize in a certain neighborhood or a certain niche, you work with first-time buyers or FHA buyers or, you know, a certain community or senior citizens or whatever it might be, and all your content speaks to that person. And then you start properly distributing it, and you do something that I call video repurposing, where you take that content, you put it on YouTube, you put it on Facebook, you put it on your blog. Then you start getting SEO because it's on YouTube. So you start organically showing up on Google. When you do this, when people start searching for things, you're showing up everywhere. So we have people being on the first page of Google within 90 days because they're doing this consistently, and they're outbeating, like they're right underneath realtor.com.
Right. Just absolutely amazing stuff. I mean, you're absolutely correct. I mean, video texting, like you say, Sekou, texting is the new handwritten note, right? I still believe in handwritten notes. Maybe I'm the true dinosaur here, but I still believe they have a huge effect, you know. But Krista, there's one thing that you would tell agents to do to sum everything up that we've been talking about for the last 40 minutes or so. What would that be? I know there's not one thing, but what would be the main thing?
Start using video on a regular basis because people get to know you, like you, and trust you, and it breaks down barriers. And then make sure you learn how to properly distribute it so it's actually getting seen. That will, if you just did that and you did that on a regular basis, right, and you spent a little bit of money to get that video exposed, I guarantee you, if you did 3 a week within a year, it's impossible that you won't have at least 12 new listings. And for me, one new listing is $12,000 commissions, $144,000. We've seen people, like I said, we have another agent, top producer, Alicia Collins. She was doing 105 deals when she joined. And again, she's also 20 months in the program. The second year, it was like, I don't want to say the wrong number, but this past year, she closed 293. She went from 105 to 293 homes in a 20-month period. And she will 100% say it's all from the strategies that we've taught her. And she was already killing it, right? But now, because she has proper systems in place, she's just the same amount of busy as she was when she was selling 105 because she has systems and strategies.
Right.
Doing.
Right.
I love it.
Right.
It's attracting, not chasing. You want to have an attraction-based business. And another great thing about using video and properly distributing it is that you work with the right people, because people are going to be like, I can't stand that girl. And so you detract them, or you attract the ones that already like your personality. So you're kind of already walking in there and they feel like they know you. They've already hired you. What we do is, go ahead.
No. My mom is walking in the door. I'm just letting her know that I'm here. I was getting ready to tell her to be quiet, but hi, Mom. Hey, you know, Finale, we're running up on that time, right?
Yeah,
so,
go ahead.
you know, I always ask the question.
Yes, I was just going to
It's my favorite question. What can we do to help you?
Oh, you're already doing it. Just having me be on this is awesome.
Awesome. You know, I want to invite her to 5K Wednesday. I don't know if you've ever seen it or ever.
Explain that, say.
So every Wednesday we get together, and by we, I mean the entire real estate community that I have on my Facebook page or Instagram or what have you. And we make 5,000 contacts in 3 hours. It is an amazing thing. We do calls, we do, face-to-face, we do instant message, direct message, etc., live broadcast, video, post, etc., and we accumulate the results. We've had an amazing success. We usually get about between 1,800 and 2,500 people that watch during that 3-hour period. I'd love to have you come on and promote to the agents that are there and to any salesperson that you can your services.
That's awesome. Thank you. One of the things I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get on more stages and really get the message out there, because my superpower is like really being in front of people and uplifting them and getting them to actually take action. Like that's like what I'm really, really good at. But it's been hard to get on stages. So if you guys know of anybody, that's my real goal, because that's where I can make the most amount of impact. So doing something like that is perfect.
We're going to offer you our stage. I'm going to bounce out of here. I love you guys. I'm missing my hat.
It's at the office.
My hat's at the office. All right. I love you guys.
Hi, bro. Thank you. Thank you so much. Talk to you later. So great. So what I'll do is this week, I'll send you a message to go on, check out Sekou on Wednesday from 4 to 7 we're on, and you come on for a segment and talk to Sekou and me, and we go forward. But it's really a lot of energy that we go through, and the contacts are really great. We have a lot of fun. Any last words?
Who do you guys call?
We don't call anyone. We go out. We just talk to different people, and we're calling FSBOs, calling expires. We're texting people. We're going to our sphere of influence. We're going to our past customers, our current customers, and just communicating with everybody. Any living, breathing human being that connects with us is a contact. And
you're making 5,000 in 180 minutes?
Yes, right. On New Year's Day, Sekou was live from 8 to 7, 8 in the morning to 7 at night on New Year's Day. I was there from 8:30 to 3, and we were live. We did 10,000 that day, just on New Year's Day. And one of the agents that was in early, she got 2 appointments between 8:30 and 9 a.m. on New Year's Day, right?
Wow.
So this all also turns into appointments, and it turns into leads, and it turns into contracts. So we count the contracts, we count the leads, we count the appointments as well, and we do very, very well with that also. So it's a lot of fun. People are there, people are coming on, and he recognizes everybody that comes on. I do it like 20 minutes with him during the day, and just we go on, and we'd like to invite you to be on there to talk about what you do, to talk about that to everybody, and bring you on, and you can promote yourself there with us.
That'd be amazing. I really appreciate that. That's cool. Yes.
Awesome. So we'll give you that information on Wednesday, and then when you come on, you just come on the Zoom call, and we'll give you the link, and so on and so forth.
Wednesday, 4 to 7. So the only problem about this Wednesday is that I'm at a mastermind event. Can we do it on the 12th instead?
Well, I'll tell you what. It doesn't have to be this Wednesday. It can be the Wednesday after. We do it every Wednesday.
Okay, perfect. So the 12th. Okay.
Right. So as we wind down, we're at noon right now here on the East Coast. Any last words? And how do people? This is what it is. How do people communicate and get in touch with you for your help and just to talk?
Well, obviously, I wrote my book, Sell 100 Homes a Year. You can find that on Amazon, or you can also join my challenge. It's $100. It's 3 clients in 30.com. So the number 3 clients in30.com, and you'll actually get involved in a Facebook community, and you get 2 weeks of coaching with me where I give you simple strategies, a lot of mindset to kind of help get you out of your head, and you can learn more about me and how I coach. And then if you like me, then we actually encourage you to get on a call, and we can talk to you about other programs that we have. But that's just a really quick way of seeing if I'm the real deal, if we might make a connection, if you think that I can help you. And it's about half a percentage of what we actually teach in the program. It's just more of like a kickstart to help them kind of start thinking outside the box. And then once we can get them past that, and then realizing, hey, I can do this, then we move them forward. Again, that's called 3 clients in 30.com. Awesome.
Krista, thank you so much. Stay on as we go off, but thank you so much for being on today. It's been a great. And you got the hat, because everybody who comes on the show gets a hat, right? You actually get a special hat, which is the gray version. Usually it's the black version. You got the gray version because I knew this was going to be special. And thank you so much. It's been really great. And look, everybody, look up Krista. Make sure she's everywhere. She's great. She's a good person to boot. Thank you so much for everybody being on, or we'll watch the rebroadcast.
Thanks for all you do.